Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, this District of Clearwater regular council meeting Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 at 2 p.m. to order. And acknowledge that we are only fortunate to be together on unceded territory. Some people will be caretakers of the time immemorial. Also note that Ministerial Order M192 is in effect still. Are there any late items that anybody would like to add to the agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Good. Moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. All those in favor? And there we go. Hey, you got a background. Motion to adopt the minutes. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Haring for the adoption of the minutes. Seconder. Councillor Frizzle will second. All those in favor? That passes. Thank you. No unfinished business. No public hearings. Moving on to number 9, number 10. Amazing. Mayor's reports. Quiet couple weeks. For me, a couple of things in here for meetings with the public and the like. More happening with the TNRD than it is here. Did a 1-week holiday through Jasper, Banff, Canmore, Lake Louise, Golden, Radium. So lots of little towns that are also suffering with the tourism. Lack of tourism, except for Lake Louise, which was crazy with 250 people all trying to take the same salary at the same time, which was incredibly annoying. I was trying to take that selfie as well. But there was lots of great, so the same old thing, notice lots of really great ideas of how people run their towns, infrastructure and tourism ideas. Everybody I talked to in the tourism industry was definitely still talking. Council reports. Councillor Banford, anything new today?
Thank you, Mayor Blackwell. No, it's been a really quiet week for me, a couple weeks, just keeping up on emails and reading and dealing with some medical issues and hoping that I get surgery scheduled soon. That's about it.
Once I got started on getting things organized, so seeing starting the lunches and their exercise programs and all that stuff, and now they're all put on the back burner for a bit. Hopefully things will get started in October. Also, I have met with people from the men's shed. They want to get going, so I had a meeting with CAO and operations director. There we go. To discuss the different things of that. We're going to have a general meeting on the 23rd out in the field, so at least we can do what we can get going. But as we all know, we're keep studying, so we should be happy with that. And that's it.
Thank you. Councillor Haring, anything to put forward on your report?
Nothing really to update. Nope.
Okay. Councillor Mackenzie is away. Councillor Shelley.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate hearing about the different sort of tourism initiatives and the roles of gold. Get some of the rattle stops. Oh my gosh, so fun. But I think that the other thing to know was that although there were 200 people at Lake Louise, anywhere else got them. And if you can just drive up to Bull Falls and just take a photo, there was a serious problem going on in the tourism world and the dependencies that we have on the international market and the importance of looking forward to a recovery strategy. Other items to note is I really appreciate the work that Dr. Haring Hospital is doing. That would be very stressful having ERs closed, actually closed, and just working through that. But it is nice to be able to welcome Dr. Sandra and her family to Clearwater. They have, she's here, she started, and she has also arrived and she has also started. And the Elevate Community Services is still moving forward on taking over the medical clinic at first and changing that into the health center, which is some conversations I'm sure they'll
Okay. Councillor Taylor.
No major updates from me. I did take a week's vacation, didn't go anywhere, but it was nice to disconnect from work and spend some time with the kids. The only thing I was just going to call out was just commending staff on an extremely well-run hockey school, which we had a lot of kids, brought a lot of families in from out of town too. A really great event for the kids, so well organized. My son had actually been to the Blazers camp the week before, and they had 9 out of 25 spots filled, and we filled every spot on our camp. So great job to staff on that one. So I can't hear you, Councillor Sim, sorry. No, sorry, audio's not so great today, sorry.
140 students apparently. Maybe? No. Okay, we're gonna have technicals. I think it might be on Zoom this time, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll fight through this. So hard because I'm looking over here at Lucy, but I can't over here. Anyways, moving on to we don't have any minutes with me as a whole. Yeah, please.
Congratulations, Michael.
Yeah.
Very exciting news. That's marvelous, and just our best wishes for your family, and glad to have you back in the office.
Fresh spawn. Yay. Okay, committee of the whole reports, Council Frizzle.
Meeting September 22nd is the next meeting.
Infrastructure is Council Banford.
Our next meeting will be in October.
We have Parks and Recreation. The for the 1-year extension to the Parks and Rec contract in order to have time to final 1 year. In order to have time to work on our park. Finance and audit, Councillor Haring.
Next meeting is December 7th.
Right, standing committees, advisory, Hearing, how are you? Or he's frozen. Okay, so the next joint services advisory committee meeting is September 13th. Did you hear that? Anybody?
I did.
Okay. We filmed it? Okay. I think we might have to have Trails Task Force, Councillor Taylor,
Yeah, the next meeting is September 14th.
Junior Council, Council Frizzle.
We don't know when that's going to happen. We have some discussions.
Yeah, thanks. Forestry Working Group, Council Banford.
Thank you. It's to be announced, but likely it'll be in September. Later this month, maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move that to the folder. Committee representation reports, tourism wells, three. I did see some stuff. Going in the inbox.
Yes, so they have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. And Wells Range Committee Forest Commission, Council Banford.
And our next meeting is to be announced when it's called.
Thank you. Moving on to item 17, staff reports. Out of that is your package, page 13. Any questions of Mr. Thomas on the report? Congratulations on hiring Brett for that position there. Yay! Sounds like you hit the ground running. Running, flailing, fists whirling, and the whole thing. Sorry. But congratulations on welcome aboard, obviously. Any questions? Councillor Frizzle.
Going alert training session, I see it anywhere will it be implemented.
Good question. We had our first training in questions that I was learning for us is to pick a date where it will go live. Once again, as the management team to decide that here. We have a secondary, more in-depth training scheduled likely for this month as well. And after that, they will go live. But we will council be well aware, and then we will have to do a public campaign to inform the public of where they can go to sign up for this. When the councillors on Zoom were able to hear me, or
Those on Zoom hear John.
so we have,
It's challenging. It's very muffled today.
Okay.
is this better?
Yep, that's better. It just goes in and out of a muffled state, so it's just hard to follow.
It's the so since we have our first training session with Buoyant, we have to decide as a management team when we will be ready to go live. That decision will be made fairly soon and will be shared with the rest of the organization. We also have to get ready for a public awareness campaign of some sort to inform the community as to where it can go in order to sign up for Buoyant Alert as well. And that information will be shared with the council and the public very soon.
Sorry, Councillor Sim, yes?
Just a question, when we have paid to sign up for that, is that like a Spotify, you pay yearly, monthly, or? So it seems that they've got our money, but we didn't get to use it this year. So is that credited for next year?
No, it would not be credited for next year. It is a subscription, an annual subscription.
And yet their system failed because of the oversubscription,
Well,
or
we-
was it on us?
That
No,
was
we-
not.
Yeah, we weren't up and running in time to really use it for July and August. We didn't sign up till it was for, we were
In August.
in August.
Okay,
Yeah, not like the TNRD, which has been signed up and other jurisdictions for like almost over a year, I think. So when tablets failed, we were not a
and
subscriber.
that's what I was wondering.
Yes,
Okay,
we were not a
okay,
subscriber.
great, thank you.
Okay. One more question. Okay.
I see on the IT, this is set up, so who do we contact now? It says in the finance part, the new staff members are set up for the IT.
This is basically saying, and I don't want to speak for Roxanne, but the use staff member Brent was set up for IT once you staff. Nothing.
Change that we not put it on, misunderstood.
Okay. So let's see staff reports, unless you have anything to add, Mr. Thomas. Oh, thank you for that report. Moving on to item 17B, this is tax exemption. You have a recommendation for option 2. Here. Any questions on the report of staff? Sorry, Councillor Haring, go ahead.
I'm just curious that the Evergreen Acres exemption is pretty large altogether. It's like 18,000 a year. I'm wondering, is there a sunset on that, or is that going to be kind of something we're exempting from now until forever?
Yeah.
I can't hear if there is an answer. I'm really catching maybe a sentence out of every 3 or 4 here.
Okay, so this is for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, council evaluate that as to how it goes forward. If you want to still not getting audio on there, Bill?
Everything just sounds so muffled. We'll get the occasional sentence that's clear and then muffled again.
Okay, so technically, yeah, no. I understand we don't have forum. I can try to set my computer up, so let's just take a 5-minute recess, and I'm gonna see if I can do it with computer audio, and that changes. Councilor Banford, can you hear me?
Just from my experience, Bill, it's the same as the affordable housing that was built by the library and stuff. Those tax exemptions seem to go on through perpetuity because they're nonprofit societies. So that's a decision council would have to make if they wanted to change that. But from my understanding, it seems like they're in perpetuity.
Yeah, so this is the 3-year bylaw. This, if we can, okay, so can we do keep somebody put in the chat if you guys can't hear this? So just give me a 5-minute break here till it's set up.
No, I just moved it over. So I could write it in the chat. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Testing.
Michael, I know you're super busy, but you send me the English.
Yep.
And you can send that.
All right, sent you the Zoom link.
Oh, I'm on the screen there. Getting a sub screen that says host has another meeting progress start at 1 p.m.
So that's the old.
Yeah. I want there. So.
Oh, sorry, I think I might have sent you the wrong link. No, I sent you the wrong link. So I can give you the correct link. That's the that's the camera. Okay, sent you the correct link.
Testing.
Languages. If you do, then there's no way those mics will work.
I think that might be the goal. isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, I can definitely just mute it. If need be.
Can you hear me now? Problem is I can hear me too. Ah. Okay.
Turn your speaker off and your microphone on.
Hold on a second. But will anybody else in the room be able to hear this? This isn't going to work either.
Which system do you want to use? So what's happening though, is if you guys have audio on here, I get a delay. If I turn my mic on my laptop.
To do this, and you guys can hear me, then I'm hearing it after I say it, which is, yeah. If you do that, you have to listen on your laptops. I don't know.
You only want one speaker sending the sound out into the room.
Oh, it's so disorientating. Okay. Okay, can you guys can hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
They can hear me now. You guys can hear me in the room, so we're good. And I've got a little bit of feedback right now. You guys are gonna have to listen to them on the computer, so it's gonna drive you crazy. You're almost gonna want to have your mute button. Okay, we're gonna try to keep going forward. This is still distracting, but not as distracting. Anyways, we've got the council.
I'm leaving.
Permissive tax exemption bylaw for properties, which was what we were working on last year. There is a recommendation for the 3-year period for 100% exemption for all properties and required financial statements and budget for the non-conforming applicant by September 30th, 2022. Are there any further questions or comments on that? And I think Roxanne was trying to answer the question as to whether or not this is in perpetuity. It's actually for 3 years, Councillor Haring, and then we can go back and look at this. But we can also go back and discuss policy on this at any time. And I do note your concern on evergreen acres forever, and the same would go for the YCS buildings. They got a fairly extensive tax exemption, was part of the policy on that one for quite a while as well. And places like fisheries has actually changed due to rented land on there by search and rescue, buildings being built and things like that. So there's lots of variables there for sure. Okay. Any further questions on this? Seeing none. Do I have a mover and a seconder on these permissive tax exemptions? Moved by Councillor Haring, seconded by Councillor Sim. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you for passing that with difficulty. Okay. Moving on to the cemetery bylaw. This is something that's been on the burners for quite a long time. This is, I in favor of the way this is being set up as a select cemetery advisory committee. And if you read your notes, that basically means it has a limited time span to get this right and a limited number of members. So this is not a committee that goes on for ever and ever. This is to set things up, and then if things change or need adjustment in the future, then so be it. We can bring it back and have another look at it, but this is to get the boilerplate done on this. So any questions of staff or thoughts on this? Councillor Haring?
So maybe I was confused by what I was reading. I thought that this was about sort of recruiting a committee of people to do this.
It is correct. There's only one member of council that will be on it, and then the other members will be members of the community. And I know our current and former funeral director has expressed some interest. It's actually best that this be left to the community to decide, because that's where the interest truly is on this. So yeah, limited council involvement. Councillor Banford.
Yeah, appreciate your comments, Mayor Blackwell, and I agree it's been on the books for quite a while. My only concern kind of relates to Council Haring's. When a report comes back from the committee, as well as some of the other agenda items down further, I'm just concerned over staff workload. And I think we need to be really cautious about the workload that they have now versus adding anything to it. So that's my concern. As long as it won't create a lot of staff workload at the end of the day, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and in discussions with Mr. Thomas, that was my concern as well, that we don't add workload. However, this is a very sensitive issue with the community, and I think we need to get on this. So that's, when he brought the recommendation back, or staff brought back the recommendation for the select committee and a shortened timeline and also a limited number of members, that was the intent behind that it not be another pile-on of a committee. So yeah, that we can't keep putting it off forever, but we can limit the scope of it to be focused so that we get it done in a timely manner.
No, I'm really happy with the scope of it and the timeline and the select committee.
Okay. Yeah, so Councillor Sim moves this, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Okay, and if you have further comments on it, obviously we're having some difficulty with this meeting. So just bring that to the next council meeting or to Mr. Thomas directly. But I think this is a good thing to move forward with at this time. Moving to item D, backhoe repairs update. So you've got it in your report. You can see the additional work. I think there's even a photograph in one of the reports of the broken cast iron requires specialty welding. So here we are again. But the recommendation, the council amends the 2021 to 25 5-year financial plan for up to another $9,000 to repair the damaged component, and additional funds be withdrawn from unrestricted surplus. Be it further resolved, the council directs staff to develop and bring forward a business case for an asset replacement, i.e. replacing this backhoe with something newer to us for the 2022 budget. Questions or thoughts on this? Yeah, I think, had a little discussion in the interim with our new director, and it's essential that you get a piece of equipment back working here ASAP, especially before freeze up. But obviously, I think this thing is well and truly worn and done its duty. So in the long term, we have to look for something fresher. So there is a recommendation. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Banford, or do you have a question? It's actually, the recommendation on mine is, I don't know what option it is. Yeah, so it's option 2, sorry. Okay, so moved by Councillor Banford, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. All those in favor? Okay, and that passes. Anybody opposed? Oh, okay. Sorry, just catching up a little bit here in my file. Moving on to procedure bylaw amendments. Page 26 to 37. Yeah. So this is M92 ministerial order to permanently put in place the ability to hold meetings basically electronically, which, you know, we can work on because it's all new to us. This is basically a bit of housekeeping so that we can continue to operate through the pandemic and hopefully have a solution for meetings where some of us can't attend for various reasons, including Councillor Banford and issues like that, and be still included in council and decisions. So there is a recommendation that staff be directed to initiate a review of council procedure bylaw number 131/2014, preparing for an amendment that will allow council to have permanent authority over whether or not to conduct meetings electronically, and updating the sections of the council procedure bylaw that have become outdated. Mover and a seconder. Questions of staff? Question to staff first. Sorry, Councillor Sim.
So with this, I'm wondering, is with the parameters, it seems like there's gonna be an overview of when to have electronic meetings. For example, I can see that there's a lot of advantage to the public when they view on the screen, and it's not convenient to come at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I found that in terms of our meetings themselves, the Zoom format is really hard and it's disruptive, and I don't find it's conducive to going smoothly. I struggle with that, but I also really look to the convenience. I look to the day when many meetings maybe aren't at 1 o'clock, and maybe we're doing them at another time. And it can be convenient. So is that the intent, is to do the overhaul of how things have been done?
The intent was just to address the issues of Bill 10, which allows council to hold these meetings electronically. Secondary to that, the intent was also to clean up some of the number issues or things that are already in practice but not reflected in the bylaw. But if council is looking for a more deep dive structure or review, we can certainly do that as well.
Right. So to be, oh, I lost my video. Sorry. Oh, what's going on here? So yeah, to be fair, this is basically to allow us to have electronic meetings. The discussion beyond that, whether we want to rearrange how our meetings are run or go fully electronic, hybrid, or fully in person, that's another, I think we can have that as a separate discussion, and I think we should. I agree with that. Further questions? Councillor Taylor.
Not really a question, more of a comment. I guess maybe that should come up in the discussion section. But I actually think it's a really good move and kind of bring a more inclusive approach that, you know, maybe there'll be future members of council who, you know, may have different family situations or may not always be able to attend in person, but can still contribute to the conversation. So yes, obviously we want to work on audio and things like that to make it run a bit more smoothly. But I actually think it's a really good move to make us seem a little bit more progressive on that side of things.
Yeah, I agree that some form of hybrid model is a great idea. But I think in-person attendance still needs to happen on a certain percentage basis, because you do lose some of that in-person communication. Further questions or comments? If not, can I get a mover and a seconder, or did I? I don't think I did. Just to pass this bit to continuous to allow. So Councillor Taylor, Councillor Haring, seconds. All those in favor?
Option 1, initiate a review.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, mine aren't listed as options. I'm just reading off the agenda ones. So initial options. So the next item is item F, grant an aid request for National Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Day. The recommendation that I have on my agenda is that council approves a grant and aid request for Yellowhead Community Services Indigenous Early Years Education Program to a maximum of $500 and use of district tents for National Day of Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Day with funds to be expended from the 2021 grant aid budget. Questions or comments on this? And obviously all of this is up to COVID restrictions. So I think we're in this week's stable. We may be in a different version of stable in a month. So seeing no questions, Councillor Sim has moved. Do we have a seconder on that? Councillor Taylor seconds. All those in favor? Thank you for that. ALC. Item 44, or page 44 to 79, item G of your agenda. There is quite an extensive report there. Oh, sorry. Are there questions of staff on that? Because we do have Alex online. Or Alex, do you like to present on this? Is that how this works? I can't remember. Oh, we lost Alex's. Oh, there he is.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I can provide a quick update if that helps.
Yes, thank you.
I'll just do a screen share here and then we can see the report. All right, so this is an ALC, Agricultural Land Commission application. The proponent has applied for a non-farm use approval for the removal of soil and aggregate, and that's to enable a gravel pit. So whenever somebody tries to extract more than 500 cubic meters from the ALR, cubic meters of soil from the ALR, it requires an ALC approval. This property in question is located off Clearwater 100-mile Forest Service Road. And about half of the property is within the ALR, the Agricultural Land Reserve. So the owner has submitted what's called a notice of work to the Ministry of Energy and Mines to operate a gravel pit. And gravel pits are provincially approved and regulated. So local government zoning and other bylaws actually can't prohibit the use. In this case, because the land is in the ALR, the owner needs to get the ALC's approval first. And the ALC requires that council consider the matter before they make a decision. So council can support and forward the application to the ALC for a final decision, or you can deny the request entirely, or you can recommend to the ALC that the request be denied. So that's sort of the different options that you have. To support their application, the owner has submitted a technical report, which was prepared by a professional agrologist. And the report found that there were limitations to the agricultural capability of the land. So based on that report, based on the historic use of the property for resource extraction, and the reclamation requirements that will be imposed by the province, planning staff do recommend that the application be forwarded to the ALC for a decision. So I'll leave it at that and answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Alex on this? Not seeing none. Oh, Councillor Taylor.
So just one question, Alex. As part of this process, is there any consultation with neighboring properties? I know we would do for like a rezoning, but it sounds like that's not the part of the process here.
No, it's not part of the ALC process, and it's not part of the ministry mine approval process. So there's no public input.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, there is a recommendation. Agricultural Land Commission application number ALC-21-01 removal of soil for the north half district lot 1723 AU1E step plan KAP 5489 was supported for the ALC. The mover and seconder on that. Moved by Councillor Frizzle, seconded by Councillor Haring.
I realized my mic was just off then, or switched off there. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Thank you. Sorry about that. Moving on to the men shed. No, grant application, investing in Canada infrastructure program. So there is the note there that we were unsuccessful, unfortunately, on that one, which is, sad once again. That's our second crack at it, and that one, when we applied for it again, it was for things that had already been put forward that were worthy and needed a second crack at it. So now we're going to have to go to third crack at it. Councillor Sim.
Just a question, can we just get a reminder of that particular grant so that we watchers might know what we were applying for?
Yeah, so I can do that sort of just, I think it was about over $8 million for a sewage distribution system that would have surrounded all the properties around Dutch Lake, including Dutch Lake subdivision and Lake Summit Road. Change in scope from the original time we looked at this because some of those sewer connections have been accomplished since then. So, but it would have been quite a game changer for the health of Dutch Lake itself, and allowed for a lot of freedom of the ability to change uses of your, not change uses of your property, but people that are on septic systems would now be on sewer systems and would have less restrictions on what they could do on the actual footprint of their property because of the lack of a need to hold space for a septic system anymore. Boom. Councillor Sim.
I really appreciate that review because I think this project, we're still looking at really, really hard. And there's been lots of advocacy to a variety of ministers. I don't know if it's an opportunity to follow up with them. I know that we've had some feedback in the past, but because things are complete. I felt going into this, we had a really good shot at it. So this was really disheartening news, given that actually is an important part. And I'm wondering if maybe there could be some feedback about what we need to do. Do we need to leave the fact that so many changes have been done? Like saying the next project and that. I don't know, but this is an important one for our whole community. And so that's where our business.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement that if there's a follow-up, we can do that. I think most of the key items that had changed in time were added to the resubmission, but yeah, it was disappointing. I thought we had basically heading towards plus 75% success rate on approval on this one, judging by early discussions with ministry on where we stood with this one. So and obviously it would be a key connector for the unglamorous world of sewer expansion in our community to make things happen. So it is quite a disappointment, unfortunately. But yes, I agree. We should put forward looking into that. Further questions or comments on that? No. Okay. Add it back to strategic planning. Now, Menshed. There is a recommendation there for a 1 year free of charge trial period, and maybe would you like to talk to it, Councillor Frizzle, a little bit?
Well, I did have the approval back in April of 2020, but it's been very helpful to we were going to the wall. To separate the public works from the own shed, and so there's discussions on if we're going to do that, how we're going to do that. But we need to have approval from council again, because we have some.
So there is a recommendation. Would you like to move the recommendation?
Council approves the use of the vacant space at Haring Hall for the Manchester program free of charge for a trial period of 1 year based on first space activated.
Seconder on that. Councillor Taylor. Questions, discussion. Great idea. Let's get these guys going. Oh, man, with tools and ideas are always a bad idea. All those in favor? Yay, we did something good. There are no bylaws. Moving on to correspondence. Response required. Free transit for the federal election. So moved by Councillor Sim, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. Questions on this? Nope. All those in favor? Another good thing. Correspondence information items. stop me if there's something of interest to you. Okay, the Costco. Okay. Okay. Item B, North Thompson Art Council minutes. Can anybody explain this to me? Because I really couldn't focus on what we need to do with that or what we're being informed. The North Thompson Arts Council minutes. Yeah.
So the North Thompson Arts Council, they took a bit of a R&R. They've been trying to find space in the community. I think that eventually they'd like to be a part of an arts vision for the community. And just to inform council, should that come through any strategic planning, they just want to just keep informed about what they're doing, what their plans are. So it's really a communication piece, literally. Here's what we're up to, here's what we said. So maybe at some point in time, they will have a cause to make a presentation, if they've got a project that they want to do, but I think it's really just to demonstrate that they're getting back into the south.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. They've struggled finding a place for quite a few years. So there, and that John Revel, who was there for the August 28th, that's my Uncle John. My distant, weird Uncle John. Anyways. All good. So moving on, Peter Milgard, health staffing shortages. Yes, lots of advocacy going on about health staffing shortages in our community and all 6 or 7 in the North Thompson plus rural inland. So it's quite a crisis out there. Yeah, and more on that. Go ahead.
I think that the other thing, and this is certainly to many of us is not going to be anything in the news, but we're resorting back to what we saw 12 years ago, which is seeing communities all fighting for the same funding, but the fight for locums and the dollar battle for locums is going to be a really hard-hitting fight. So, for example, you can share in Lillooet and be paid $3,500. That's just one shift. So, what does that mean for Clearwater and the budgets that we have here? So, it once again, communities are being set against one another as opposed to working together. And I think that that's going to have to be a conversation that smaller communities are going to have together because nobody wants it that way. Desperation, belief, and some hard conversations. But we watched this movie play out. We don't need to do this equal and the same low problems, is it?
Yep. No fun there. Anyways, last item, BC Flood Investigations Initiative. And that's it. No notices of motion. No other business comments from the public. Public's here. Annabelle's not here. We do have an in-camera, so there's a recommendation the council meeting be closed to public pursuant to sections 91 G and I of the community charter. To consider matters pursuant to litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Motion to move into camera. Moved by Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Frizzle. All those in favor. And we will adjourn for 5 minutes to get that set up at least. Thank you.